Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premiere Network on Sunday, April 28th, 2019. This is episode 1587. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Capterra. Find the right tools to make an informed software decision for your business. Capterra is software selection simplified. Visit Capterra's free website at capterra.com/techguy. And by LastPass, the #1 most preferred password manager. Just remember your master password and let LastPass remember the rest. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. And by DigitalOcean. Deploy your apps on the simplest cloud platform with no surprises. Join a community of over 3.5 million developers on DigitalOcean. Sign up today and receive a free $100 credit at do.co/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones, we got your smartwatches, we got all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. If you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, if you want to tell me the lyrics to Boogie Nights. I was having a little trouble yesterday, couldn't quite. I got it now. It's a nice thing about the internet, isn't it? You can always look it up. You could look it up. 8888 Ask Leo. Please give us a ring and let's talk high tech. I'd love to do that with you. 888-827-5536. Website, which I'm proud to say is free and available when I'm not, 7 days a week, is techguylabs.com. And I think you'll like that because it's got not only all the stuff we say on the show, so you don't have to write anything down. It's also got audio and video after the fact. It's got places for you to add your thoughts. You don't have to yell at me if you don't want to. techguylabs.com. Good news, we won. The people won. The streamers win over the Oscars. So I don't know if you remember this. Steven Spielberg, right after the Academy Awards, he was a little miffed. He said a movie that isn't in the movie theater should not be eligible for the Oscars. And I think he was thinking of Roma, which was a movie that got into the Oscars by showing in a couple of theaters a couple of times, but really was a Netflix movie. Brilliant movie by Alfonso Cuarón, who has won Oscars before. I mean, he's a very well-known director. It was a beautiful film shot in black and white. And it almost won Best Picture, I think I think there was actually a little rebound, a little action from the Academy voters who said, under no circumstances should a movie only on Netflix be able to win an Oscar. Did win Best Director. I think it got Best Original Screenplay. Did win quite a few Oscars. And afterwards, Steven Spielberg said, no, you shouldn't even be even eligible. Well, Tuesday, AMPAS, the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, said, we will allow streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime to be eligible for nominations, even if they don't show up in the theaters. This is really fascinating to me. The old school, I mean, Steven Spielberg carries a lot of weight in Hollywood, right? He was the lead on this whole thing, and he lost when the Board of Governors said streaming can win. Now, you do have to show your movie in LA County in a commercial theater for at least 7 days, 3 screenings a day for paid audiences. But movies that are released on streaming services on or after the first day of theatrical release are eligible. So all Netflix has to do is find a rundown LA movie theater, run it there for 6-7 days for paying audience, 18 shows. Wow. So Spielberg actually wanted to change the rules. to disqualify streaming service movies. And you may remember the weirdest twist in all of this was the Department of Justice weighed in. The DOJ sent a letter to the Academy warning it would be in violation of competition law if it voted to make the streaming services ineligible. What? Really, DOJ? Is this one of your most important issues? Really? I'm thinking some mucky muck at Netflix, probably somebody, or maybe Hulu, somebody who donates a bit of money to the government or has a political action committee, banged some cans and got somebody to say, all right, I'll write a letter. I think this is great. It might be Bezos because Amazon Prime has funded a lot of movies that have been theatrical, but I bet you they'd just love to show them on Amazon Prime only. Anyway, I thought you might be interested in that. Apple has done something odd, and maybe you can fill me in. They're cracking down on apps that fight iPhone addiction. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute. We know Apple understands the problem because, well, they said so, and they even released their own software on the new iOS to say, well, here's how much you used your phone and all that stuff. Screen time, remember? You know that? And I think part of the reason maybe Apple, anyway, the rule Apple probably is invoking is that no third-party application on the App Store can duplicate a function that Apple already offers, which is weird because they allow other browsers and Safari's right there, but they use the rule selectively, let's put it that way. Over the last year, according to the New York Times, Apple has removed or restricted 11 of the 17 most downloaded screen time and parental control apps, and many lesser-known ones as well. In some cases, they forced companies to remove features that allowed parents to control their children's devices or that blocked children's access to certain apps and adult content. In other cases, it just pulled them from the store. Some app makers with thousands of paying customers have been shut down. Others say their futures are in jeopardy. The top parental control iPhone app, you might know it. You might use it. Hour Packed, 3 million downloads. In February, Apple pulled the app, which accounted for 80% of the revenue from its app store. The chief executive officer of Hour Packed, Amir Mousavian, says they're systematically killing the industry. Why would Apple do that? Why? Apple's own apps, these companies say, aren't as aggressive about limiting screen time, don't provide as many options. Tim Cook himself, the CEO, has said, hey, no, we understand that there's a problem with iPhone addiction, and we don't want people using their phones all the time. That's never been an objective for us. Two of the most popular parental controls apps, Kids Locks and Custodio, filed a complaint with the EU. Oh, boy. Apple says, we treat all apps the same, including those that compete with our own services. Our incentive is to have a vibrant app ecosystem that provides consumers access to as many quality apps as possible. Now, this may be the reason, and I have to give Apple credit for this. She said, the Apple spokesman Tammy Levine said, Apple removed or required changes to the apps because they could gain too much information from users' devices. It's a privacy deal. She said the timing of our moves is not related to the debut of similar tools. Okay. Yeah, it's so easy sometimes with the Apple and any company in tech. It's so easy to just kind of assume, oh, yeah, they're protecting their own bread and butter. Maybe they're just trying to protect our privacy. It's how you define this, how you determine this is going to be really a factor of how you feel about Apple, I guess. Isn't that the case? And actually, let's talk about how you feel about Microsoft. A recent survey from Axios, the Axios Harris Poll 100 survey of how people feel about companies, how they call it the reputation quotient, or RQ. And Axios published a graph over the last 6-7 years of RQ, Amazon's RQ has basically unchanged. It's number 2 in the RQ. But Microsoft, which had been going down a little bit, has gone back up, is now number 9, just below Microsoft. Number 24, Netflix. 32, Apple. Isn't that surprising? You'd think Apple's RQ, reputation quotient, would be number 1. Google even lower, 41, but of course you know who's the worst. And on the downward side, I bet you can guess. Yeah, Facebook, number 94 on the list. So I don't know how important these things are, RQ and all that. But anyway, there you have it. Number 1 in the RQ, in the reputation quotient, is, what did I say? Amazon. See, I don't know if I would pick Amazon. I don't know if I'd put Amazon on the top there. What do you think? 8888 Ask Leo. What companies win your reputation quotient poll? 888-827-5536. We can also talk about buying, selling, fixing, anything within a chip in it. Have you ever been in here before? Or is this? You had been at the did you come in live for the?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We talked about the Gigapan. I just come back from
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, that was awesome. Do you still do those?
I haven't done many.
No. This is the issue in general with technology is there's a lot of fads.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me that they were at NAB. There were no drones at all.
What?
It's like that was the big thing last year, right?
Possible.
Nothing but.
I don't think drones are going to go away anytime soon.
No, but I think what happened is,
Replace helicopters.
like with with a lot of this stuff, the people who really use it are going to keep using it and replace helicopters and stuff.
Well, like the Gigapan, I did a job for JBL like 2 years ago, where it wasn't a zoomable thing. It was just a super high res photo
Right,
that they needed.
right. So you fly up and get it, and
Not for the drone, the Gigapan. I'm talking.
oh, the Gigapan. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so that's exactly right. I don't think technology goes away. It just finds its natural niche. And all the Johnny come latelys, all the bandwagoners go to the next big thing. She's unbreakable. It's a miracle. It's Kim Schaffer. Kimmy don't take no Schaffer. She's answering your phone calls. But you know what? You do, I think, probably take a little bit of Schaffer because, you got to answer the phones. Anybody who answers the phones, you deal with the public.
Yeah. Most of your callers are very legitimate compared to other shows, though. I've told you that before.
I think that's true. I think anybody listening to this show is going to be a little bit higher class.
Yeah, you get some real whack jobs.
We have our share.
On general talk radio.
I think if you're listening to this show, you're intelligent. You're kind of a geek. You're kind of very interested in all this stuff,
or you have a legitimate problem that you need solved.
Well, that we probably have in spades. Do you have a call like that for me?
I do, and
What a surprise!
I'm really fascinated by this one.
Oh,
actually,
good.
Mark in Reno, Nevada, is involved in a lawsuit, and he's trying to prove his whereabouts with his iPhone. And my phone just did this to me recently. I looked up a restaurant, and it said you were there January 1st, 2014, which creeped me out in a way. But I also thought that was really cool. But it stopped. It stopped tracking my whereabouts the day that you installed Windows 10 on my laptop, kind of showed my password on the screen, and I had to change all my passwords. And I haven't been tracked since.
Oh, you blame me for that, huh?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, how do I get tracked again? Nobody
We
wants to be
showed your
tracked.
password on the air?
Kind of accidentally, maybe.
Oops,
So just
I'm
out of
sorry.
precaution, I changed it.
That's why I've given up on privacy, because over the years I've shown my home address, my phone number.
Yeah. Everybody knows.
We do
you are
all of
not
our.
hard to find.
This is a radio show, but all of our podcasts have video, which is nuts. I don't know of anybody else crazy enough to try that, but all of our podcasts have video, and as a result, because I use my own gear, I'm not. Somebody said, "Why don't you just use sanitized, special on the air only stuff?" But then it wouldn't have. I've seen people do that where they put fake data in and all that.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm using my stuff. I don't care. All right, let me.
Mark in Reno, Nevada. Let's see
him.
if we can prove where he was on that particular day in
Thank
question.
you. The unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. Hello, Mark. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
So you need to prove that you are in the desert.
Well, anywhere than other where she claims I was.
Yeah. Most people who have Google accounts, if you go to google.com/dashboard, you will have the dashboard shows everything Google knows about you, including your location history. So
will it go back 18 months? Okay.
It'll go back as long as you've been using it. It's actually kind of fun, but it also, I know there will be people who will go there and go, what? But at some point, if you have a phone, even an iPhone, an Android or iPhone, at some point you probably gave Google Maps permission to log your location. It's a little harder with an iPhone because the iPhone will say, and you've probably seen this, hey, nudge, nudge, Google Maps is tracking your location even when it's closed. Is that okay? So as long as you didn't turn it off, and there is a setting in the iPhone to only track my location when you're open. This is Apple saying, we want to make sure that the apps, because the truth is on an Android phone, practically every app you install is gathering your location. That's valuable information they can sell to third parties and so forth. So the first thing I do is go to google.com/dashboard, look at the location history and see, and they put it on a map and it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's totally accurate because it's using GPS. If that doesn't work, or if whoever the court or whatever doesn't accept that, you can always go to your carrier. And it's kind of ironic because AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon were all dinged, some more recently than others, for offering this information to law enforcement.
Right.
They even have a portal for it. Now, the law enforcement doesn't have to have a warrant to get that information. It's considered what they call a pen register. It's a lower standard. So, they can't say to you, well, you have to have a warrant. They might say to you, you have to be a law officer. So if you've got, some law officers working with you, that's another way to do it. Google, but I think Google's your best bet. They actually, I wasn't talking to you, my Android phone woke up when I said the G word. They actually got a little bit in trouble. New York Times revealed a couple of weeks ago that Google has something called Sensor Tower, which is a database of location, which they do offer to law enforcement. So that's your best bet.
Okay.
I don't think Apple does this. Apple makes all this effort not to track your location.
I went to an Apple store to ask them, and of course they oh no, we would never do that. So I was like, well, they're just being defensive. But
they do all sorts of weird ways to anonymize it. They don't, for instance, for their maps, Apple Maps, they do get location information, which they use for maps. Like, they know how congested the roads are based on how many people, the speeds people are using. But they do it in an interesting way. They attempt not to get the beginning and the end of your trip. They don't record that, and they kind of chop it up so that they can't put together any identifiable information. Again, I wouldn't ask Apple. Ask Google.
Okay. All right. So just go to google.com/dashboard.
That's google.com/dashboard. Everybody should know about this anyway, because it is where Google, and I think the thing about Google, they do collect a lot of information. They use it for a lot of good reasons, but I think it's a good idea to see, and they're at least open about what they collect. And then, so you'll see a whole bunch of services that Google has that collects stuff. I think your location information, I'm looking at mine right now. I guess it would be under Maps. But I don't know. There used to be a Google location information spot. And that would tell you everywhere you've been. It was really cool. I mean, they would show you your track as you traveled around. I used to buy devices to do this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Oh, it's in the Maps. Tap the More button. Tap Timeline. So it's in the Maps. It's the timeline in the Maps. So that's where I would look. I love that music. It means it's time for Sam Abuelsamid, the car guy. He is principal researcher at Navigant Research. I thought you were going to be driving an Audi e-tron this weekend.
No, that's 2 weeks from now.
Oh, it's okay. You're driving it up from the wine country?
Yeah, I'll be out there. Audi's holding a media drive program in the wine country. We're going from Yountville up to up to Reno. And back
Whoa, that's fun. Do you get to drive? Like, how does that work? Do you like have 4 journalists in the car and you rotate, or what?
No, it's typically two per vehicle, and we take turns, so that one has a chance to take photos, and so we have driver change stops along the drive route.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
And this
do they have somebody from Audi sitting in the back seat making sure you don't do anything bad?
Not so much making sure we don't do anything bad. I mean, they
answering questions.
If they don't trust you, they're not going to invite you.
No,
it's more. They may have some engineers or designers along, or product planners to answer questions as we drive.
Let me know what you think, because I know that I wanted a Porsche Taycan, but that's not going to be for another year probably. Maybe an e-tron. I love Audis, as you know, kind of an Audi.
Yeah,
guy.
they should be starting deliveries of the e-tron to U.S. customers in the next week or so.
Yeah. So. My wife has an Audi. I have an Innie, but my wife has an Audi. So I'm sorry, that was just a bad joke. I see you're sitting in front of a big Amazon Echo display. What going on? Is that for your car?
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about digital voice assistants in the car. I mean, you've been talking a lot about it, for the last couple of years since the Echo first came out, and we've got Google Assistant and various other attempts at this marketplace. And one of the things that over the last 15 years or so, increasingly we've seen cars equipped with voice recognition systems to try to to allow customers to drivers to use some of the functions in their car without having to actually touch the controls.
Yeah, that's what the idea with Ford Sync was. One of the first was keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, but you could still say, hey, Ford Sync, turn up the temperature, or find my favorite station.
Right, but as you've talked about in the past, that's always been kind of problematic because cars typically until now have had fairly weak processors in them, and it's also a hard environment to do voice recognition. I mean, it's you get a lot of ambient noise as you're driving down the road, and
also,
so it's
frankly, the time frame for car design is like 5 years from initiation to production, and that's a little slow for high tech stuff, right?
Right. So now what we're seeing is a shift away from strictly these embedded voice recognition systems that have a really limited vocabulary. They have very, very specific commands that you have to use to, these voice assistants that we are increasingly using at home in our various devices, from companies like Amazon and Google and Apple.
If you have Android Auto, you have Google in your car. If you have Apple's CarPlay, you have Siri in your car. And those work pretty well. I mean, right?
Right. And so what manufacturers are doing is they're taking advantage of the fact that increasingly almost all the new cars, and within the next couple of years, pretty much 100% of new cars available are going to have cellular connectivity in there. And so they're building in these hybrid voice recognition systems based on these voice assistants. So there's still an embedded component that's in the car as a backup when you don't have good connectivity. But then you've got this other much more robust, closer to natural language voice recognition system that's built in. So you got some companies like Ford that are offering that you can use if your phone is connected to the car. It'll actually use the app on your phone. Sorry, I'm supposed to say the other word.
Say the Echo, not the A word.
The A word.
It's hard, I know.
On your phone. And then you can basically, any commands that you can do with an Echo device at home, you can do in the car. So, for example, you could tell it to adjust your thermostat at home. If you have a thermostat that's hooked up to your Echo at home, you could tell it to change the temperature as you're driving home.
That's like the Anchor sells that, the Rove Bolt.
Yeah,
which goes in your cigarette lighter.
And so Toyota's got that and got it built in.
So some cars have Echo built in?
Yeah. Well, they're starting to get it built in. Some are using it via an app that's running on your phone, like Ford and Toyota are doing. But they're moving towards built-in systems.
Who has built-in
next year?
Who is Echo like the default voice for?
let's see, BMW I think is building it into some models now, and we're going to see more of them in the next over the next year or two. Next year, Volvo is going to be introducing a new electric car called the Polestar 2 that actually has a complete infotainment system that's built on Android Automotive that will have Google Assistant built right in. But even now, if you have Android Auto, which is something different from Android Automotive, you can use Google Assistant, in the car. Similarly, if you're using Apple CarPlay, you can use Siri. And some manufacturers, Mercedes-Benz has a new system called MBUX that has a system from Nuance that is a similar hybrid type of system where there's an embedded component and then there's a cloud-based component that gives you more natural language voice recognition to do all kinds of things. So you don't have to remember specific commands anymore.
That would be nice. Yeah. I have to say, I wonder if the car manufacturers are paying attention to consumer demand and saying, well, we could do our own like MBUX, but consumers know the brand for Google Assistant, for instance, and want that in their car.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They're hearing the feedback from customers, and they're taking advantage of that connectivity, which they didn't have in the past.
That's right. Nowadays,
do a lot of this stuff in the cloud.
A lot of cars come with LTE built in or 3G built in.
Yeah, everything from GM now has LTE built into it. By the end of this year, all new Ford vehicles will have LTE built in.
Wow.
And within the next probably 3 years or so, pretty much 100% of new vehicles will have LTE built in.
The only negative on that is you now have a subscription fee to pay to the carrier.
Not necessarily. So what they're usually doing is they're giving you 5 years of basic services for free that's bundled into the price of the car.
Got it.
And then if you want more data, if you want to use it as a hotspot in your car to, let the kids play, on their connected devices in the back seat, then you can add it onto your plan for like $10 a month.
Interesting. Okay. So what do you? Well, I bet your Miata doesn't have any of this.
No, my Miata is totally analog and disconnected.
It barely has automatic windows.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite though in this category? Is there one that you like better than other? For instance, I'll give you an example. In our rental car in Hawaii, it supported CarPlay and Android Auto, but I thought CarPlay was, and I happen to have an iPhone and an Android phone, so I could play with both. Both were tethered; you have to plug in. But I thought Android Auto was a weak second compared to CarPlay. CarPlay really was nice.
I have to disagree with you on that one.
You like Auto better?
I'm an Android Auto fan. Yeah, I like the interface better. I think it's a little more attractive looking, and I think it works really well.
All right, I'm going to have to give it another shot. In fact, my next car really, and usually when you get a car that sports one, it sports both, right?
Yeah, except for BMW, most of them support both.
What's that Audi support?
It has both Android Auto and CarPlay support.
I'm liking it more and more. Well, you'll come back and talk about that, I'm sure, after your drive through the wine country. He's Sam Abuelsamid, a principal researcher at Navigant Research, principal analyst, and the car guy. And we always love talking to you, Sam. Have a safe. Are you still in Detroit right now?
I am in Detroit. It's a beautiful sunny day here today.
Is it? How nice. Yeah. Safe travels. And we'll talk to you next week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls right after this. One of the things I thought was really cool with Android CarPlay, I had one of our apps, my Twit, on my iPhone. It recognized it and put it up on the screen as part of the grid, which was really fantastic. We were right up there with everybody else. I liked that feature. Maybe I didn't configure Android Auto properly because all I was getting was
not really much to configure.
It was a clock and a home button.
Yeah, so when you first bring it up, you have that. It's on the center screen of there's like 5 different screens. It's on the center screen, which gives you a couple of widgets with your whatever was the last thing you were playing in media.
Right.
If you've got any appointments on your calendar coming up that have a destination in there, it'll show those, and you can tap on it, and it'll just automatically send that to Maps. And then you've got that little menu bar on the bottom. You can go to your media screen. You can select from all your media apps. You can go to your phone and messaging screen, or to the Maps screen.
So maybe I didn't see all of the features because I wasn't messing with it enough.
Yeah, that could be the case.
Yeah. See, This is the screen I saw. I thought that was not particularly attractive. That's the center screen.
That's the center screen. That's the main screen.
Yeah.
And then if you go to if you tap, you've got the buttons on the bottom.
Yeah.
So the one to the right of that is your media page.
Yeah.
And
so
you can
turn by turn.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought CarPlay was prettier, but maybe. And now I didn't have Spotify.
CarPlay generally, I think it's a like the iPhone, it's kind of a more simplified display. Like most of the screens are just black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your home screen is just it's a little bit simplified version of the iPhone.
For driving, that makes sense to me because you don't want to spend a lot of time looking at the screen, and I felt like the Android Auto screens were a little overly busy and made it kind of like I had to spend more time looking at the screen. Whereas Apple screens are very simple.
CarPlay, they have standardized templates. So if for your media apps, if you're using Pocket Casts or Audible or whatever else, all of them use the same template.
Right.
So the play button is always in the same place, right in the middle.
Right.
So it keeps it fairly straightforward.
Okay. Well, God willing, come late July, I'll have something. That's the problem with having a Tesla is it's the Tesla voice lady and the Tesla interface and the Tesla.
Yeah,
and I'd love to be able to hook up my phone and have it because I think that gets updated more.
Yeah,
maybe it's an e-tron.
They do, but that's something that's changing as well with this shift to having all the cars being connected.
Right.
We're starting to see, they're going to start rolling out over-the-air updates to other manufacturers.
Right.
That's going to be common starting next year.
Cool. Mr. Sam Abuelsamid, thank you. I'm sorry we're not going to get to figure out a way to see you when you're up here, but you're too far north for us to go and come back.
Yeah, I'll be starting about an hour east of where you are in Yountville.
Yeah.
Less than that, I guess.
Yountville's great, but yeah. All right. Have a good time, and I'll see you soon, I hope.
Yep.
Take care,
see you
Sam.
next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Our show today brought to you by Capterra. This is such a cool site, and I really want to tell people about it because I think everybody needs to know about it. And I needed to know this. I've had this happen. Maybe you do too. You get a job, you go to work, and you're using software from 10 years ago or 20 years ago, maybe software some high school kid wrote for the business, and then the kid disappeared, and it's just funky as heck. Still require this if the software you're using requires Windows Vista, or like maybe even Windows 98, or Internet Explorer 8, then you're in the old software zone. But you know what? Here's the good news. There is brand new, shiny new, excellent business software for almost every category. How do you find it? You don't Google it. You go to Capterra.com. That's where you can find the software you need for your business. They put thousands of real software reviews right at your fingertips. It's actually the number one online resource, free online resource to help you find the best solution. Yes, I said free. There's no reason not to use this. You go to Capterra. First thing is they have 700 categories of software and thousands of programs in every area, from yoga studio management to CRM, from IT project management to e-commerce, link management tools, web conferencing, social media networking. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Everything. So there's got to be a package, probably more than one, for your business. But then here's the great part. They have this wonderful way to compare it. So you can narrow it down, filter down the research results. Let's say you type, dentist's office. You could check boxes that say, well, do you want patient management? Do you want to keep appointments? Do you want to do billing with this too? Say all the things you want. Do you want this to be a local computer-based, or do you want it to be cloud-based? All the stuff you need. And then it filters them down to those programs that fit exactly your needs. But then you can check boxes, compare them side to side, look at prices, everything. And then you can look at the reviews. There's over 850,000 reviews of products from real users. They vet them carefully. And 30,000 fresh reviews every month. I don't know. Everybody ought to know about this. It's Capterra. Capterra.com/tech guy. Join the millions of people who use Capterra every month to find the right tools for their business. Capterra.com/tech guide. CAPTERRA.com/tech guide. Capterra is software selection simplified. Capterra! Leo Laporte in cars. 8888 Ask Leo. It's not a car show, it's a tech show. But see, these days, there's so much tech in cars. We got to talk about it. Yogi, Long Beach, California. Hey, Yogi.
Yes.
Thank you for not saying, hey, boo-boo.
Oh, no, I never say that.
Now, of course you don't. You probably hate it when people do that to you.
Well, usually it's my wife.
Oh, that you can't mind that. Is Yogi your birth name?
No, I'm Jim, but I got it in high school playing sports with my buddy.
So it's okay then. You chose it. You can own it. It's a picnic basket, Mr. Ranger. So what can I do for you, Yogi?
Okay, so here's the deal. I lived in Colorado for years and had Comcast. In fact, I had Comcast before they were called that. And so I have a Comcast email. Now I live in L.A., and Comcast is not here.
Yeah.
So they're a cable company, right? And cable companies only occupy one territory.
Yeah, you have Frontier probably, right? Or Spectrum.
We have Frontier for... I do, and I have Android phone with Gmail. But, okay, so the issue is my email. I have a Comcast email, and when I moved to L.A., I quickly realized, geez, I can't
blew it.
Comcast in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay, so I called a niece who lived there, and she ported my email for about 4 years. Okay. Oh. But they just moved to Europe and closed everything out.
Oh.
So I'm stuck here. I have an email I've had for more than 20 years. Everybody has it. And so I have another friend in Sonoma, Healdsburg, and he tried to port it, but they have this thing now called an invite. Okay.
So in the past, and maybe Comcast has changed this, but the deal was you could continue to use your Comcast.net address for as long as you logged in 90 days prior to disconnecting and as long as you log in once every 9 months.
Yeah, I would do that, and I'm in the 90-day period. I'm familiar with those rules. But
So what's the issue? I don't understand. You want to move it or?
The issue is this, so my niece had it, and all she did was...
You don't need her to log into it, though. You can log into it yourself. You don't have to be a Comcast customer to log in.
How do I log into it? To be ported on a Comcast server.
Yeah, but unless I'm misunderstanding these rules, which I'm looking at, you can log in the same way you did before because you have a Comcast.net email address and password, yes?
What do I log into? It's set up on Outlook on my machine. It died.
Oh, so they have webmail. So you can log in via the webmail interface.
Webmail?
Yeah. So there was, yeah. So I get it now. Webmail? I get what happened. You set up your Outlook to use it, which is exactly how you should do it, in my opinion. I don't like webmail, but most people, normal people, not named Yogi, use the web browser to get to their email. So they log into their email via their web browser, and that should still be active. So you should be able to log in there, and I don't know. So what they're saying is you can continue to access it. I bet you when they say that, they mean through the webmail interface. They maybe no longer allow you to access it the way you did through Outlook. In other words, you can't get the mail off the server in the way you used to.
No, correct. Because when you call them, first thing they want to know is your account number, and of course, my niece would call them, right? But now she's gone.
That was kind of a backwards way to do it, but. So first thing to do is see if you can get in via the web.
Anybody who has a Comcast account can get 6 emails, right? So let me explain this one more thing. So my friend Joe in Healdsburg, he says, okay, they have a thing called an invite. All right. So he sends me the invite. It's good for 3 days. So I accept the invite, log in with my name, and it says, oh, that's used. Well,
yes, you can't get an invite because you're already. Yeah, no. Okay.
I don't get it.
So first thing you should try to do is log in on the web. So login.xfinity.com. and see if you can log in with your old email and password. And
go to Xfinity?
Sorry?
Go to Xfinity?
Yeah, login.xfinity.com. Log in through the web with your old email and password. That should work unless it's been more than 9 months, which it hasn't. You're still in the 90-day period, right?
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Okay, so go there. You can log in. You'll see all your email. It'll be on a web page. It may or may not be that the old settings for your Outlook work or don't work, but I would, there are, imap.comcast.net, port 993, and smtp.comcast.net, port 587. What may not work anymore is outbound mail. They may not allow you to send mail from that account, but you should be able to still get your email. In any event, check and see if you can log in through the web. Would you like to move your address, or you want to keep that address?
Well, that's a good question. I would like to move it, but you have to have a transition overlap period.
Yeah.
Which takes a while. And so a short story is on Amazon, to change your Amazon email, that took 25 minutes on the phone with them actually talking to a live person.
Okay, but this has nothing to do with Amazon. Oh, I see. To change your account, I get it. Your Amazon account is through your Comcast email. I get it.
No, there are two kinds of Amazon accounts. One's called an email account, one's called a mobile account. And you can't mix them up and get
I
security
understand.
for like the 2FA codes to log in, and you can't go to your phone because it has to go to your email, And you can't change your email until you can't get there until you've been there, kind of situation.
No, I understand. If you want to change your email, you have to have access to the account. So when they send the email to you saying, "Is it okay to change your email?" you say yes, because otherwise hackers could do that. So let's solve it with step one, which is try the web-based email. If you can get into it, then you can go through all of your accounts and say, "I have a new email address, change it." And the reason you need the old address is only so you can confirm that change. Step two.
That's really all I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to do that. Just log in through your webmail. At some point, you're probably going to want a new email address, right?
Well, yeah, I have that with email.
Yeah. So at some point, what you can have Gmail do, and you can go into the Gmail settings and say, "Hey, do me a favor. Go to the old address, the old Comcast address, and pick up all my email and put it in my inbox." Gmail will do that.
They will?
Yes. It's in accounts and settings. You can go into these settings, and you can say, "Please fetch mail from my old email," because they want you to be able to move easily. So once you've done that, you don't have to ever go log into Comcast again. Gmail will do that for you, and it'll all go to your Gmail box.
Part of the settings is the server names?
Yeah, you'll need that, what I just told you, but that Comcast has that on a support page.
Okay.
So this is something very common. What you're doing is very common. And Gmail is a really good way to do it, because they will forever go out and get that email as long as Comcast lets them. As long as that account's still alive, they will go and get your email. Under settings, go to forwarding and pop IMAP, and you can do the pop download. This is what I would recommend, which is to download it from your old email address. I think that's it. Let me just look.
Go to Gmail and go to settings.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me see. No, I'm sorry. It's under accounts and import. Check mail from other accounts.
Okay, wait, you're going too fast.
Well, I can't. I don't have time to walk you through it, but trust me, you'll be able to figure it out. I have faith. I think you overcomplicated it with the niece thing. That was kind of fun, but I don't think you needed to really do that. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, augmented reality, virtual reality, real reality, anything. Well, real reality doesn't have a chip in it, does it? Anything else with a chip in it, we'll talk about. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number. 888-827-5536. It's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. You can also reach us outside that area by using Skype Out or some other voice over the internet protocol device or software, and call that number. It's toll free, so it shouldn't cost anything. 888-827-5536. Our website, techguylabs.com. And that's free. There's no sign up, and I put everything in there that we talk about. So our last caller had a not unusual problem. He'd had a Comcast.net address with his internet. It could be with any internet service provider for years. That was the address everybody knew. Except then he moved and he couldn't have Comcast as his cable provider anymore. And so now Comcast is pretty good, better than many ISPs. Apparently, they do let you continue to access your Comcast.net email indefinitely. As long as you log in every 9 months, you're okay. I'm surprised to hear that. That's using their resources for free, so good on them. Maybe the idea is when you move into a Comcast area, you'll sign up again or something. But for whatever reason, they allow that. So you can always get your Comcast email. I end up recommending he has a Gmail account, is continue if you want to give out the Comcast email address. That's the issue, right? You've had this address for years. But have the email forwarded to his Gmail account. And you can either do that from Comcast, but usually it's easiest to do it in Gmail. If you go to the Gmail settings, under accounts, you can say, I want you to download all the mail from that other account every once in a while, usually using POP so that you get a copy of it. So that's one way to handle this. But in future, and I think everybody listening, especially you young people, because you're going to have this email address for many years, right? A better way to do it is to get a domain for yourself, your own domain name. I tell teenagers this all the time. You need a website. Yeah, I know you're in Snapchat, and Twitter, and maybe even Facebook, along with your grandparents. I know that. But that's not yours. You don't own that. Just like you don't really own that Comcast.net address. Those providers can yank it at any time. That's not yours. What you really want is a domain that's your own domain and a website and an email that's your own so that you can own it. And it's easy enough. It's inexpensive to go out and register a domain name. There are lots of .coms. Well, there are fewer .coms than anything else because that's been around for a while. .net. But there's also, I have a .email address. So there's addresses of all kinds. And so what I actually would suggest is go to a registrar. You could use GoDaddy. I don't like them too much. I use hover.com. They're a sponsor. Dotster's good. Google now has its own. In fact, maybe you trust Google. Go use the Google domains. But look for an email, not an email, but a domain name you like. Could be your last name. You make it fun. But remember, this is going to be yours for life. You're going to use that domain for a couple of things. One, to have a website so that when people Google your name, what you want them to find you. You don't want them to find the videos that your enemy in high school shot of you at the drinking game or whatever. You want them to find you and your best stuff. So this is going to be your website. And even perhaps more importantly in the long run, it's going to be your email address. People judge you on your email address. Honestly. If somebody tries to get a job with my podcast network, it's a tech company, and their email address is at AOL.com, I'll admit it. I'm not going to rule them out, but I'll admit it. I look at it and go, really? 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 At Hotmail.com, kind of the same. At Comcast.net, it reeks of unprofessionalism. It reeks of maybe not such a technical person, right? And the real problem is you're tied to that particular provider. Whereas if you have your own domain name, if you're Leo at leolaporte.com, or even better, if I could get it, I would, Leo at Laporte.com. That's the best. That's why I say register if you can, your last name. Then you can have your first name at. And you can forward that anywhere. So for now, forward it to Gmail. But nobody has to know that's what you're doing. You give out, you put on your business cards, you put Leo at leolaporte.com on your business cards, and that's what you give people. And you'll never have to change it as long as you pay that $10 a month to keep that domain registered. And you can have it forward to anywhere you want. It's an easy thing to do. Some internet service providers, some domain registrars will do email as well. Hover does. But almost any other email provider, you can use it and then forward mail to it. That's kind of the nature. That's the way the internet works. So I never give out my real email address ever. I know it, but no one needs to know that. I give out my forwarding address, and that's what people use. And that way I don't have to ever worry if I want to go to a different provider at any time I can. So I really recommend that. So you get two benefits to registering a domain name that's yours. You're going to make a website that's going to be your best stuff, things about you. You're going to also use it for your email, and that can be for the rest of your life. So especially if you're young, this is important. But even now, if you as many of us, we got on the internet, we got AOL, we used AOL.com. Maybe it's time to move. And most companies will allow you to transfer that mail over. As I said, if you have Gmail be your final resting place, I'm Leo at leoville.com, but it goes to Gmail. I can also have Gmail pick up my mail at my old addresses. And so now I have one inbox that has everything. That is what I recommend. So domains prices vary. Absolutely. People are saying, well, I've seen more expensive. Absolutely. Depends what you get. If you get a .me address, that's more expensive. By the way, that's not a bad address. Your name at .me. Some addresses are more expensive. The old .com addresses tend to be the cheapest, but different registrars charge different amounts, so you can shop around. Typically, a .com is around $10 a year. That's a fairly typical price. Not very expensive. Highly recommended. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble in the long run. Plus, it's more professional looking. See, if I get a resume for our podcast network from somebody who has, a custom domain name in there, I know there's at least sophisticated enough to set that up. That's usually a good sign. Yeah. So Marsworm says he just logged into his Xfinity email. It says, we're sorry to see you go, but you can keep your email address. So I have to praise Comcast for doing that. That's actually a pretty impressive thing to do, and I guess it's probably good marketing. Nowadays, when email is free from Google and a lot of other places, Microsoft's Outlook.com is free, with ads, but it's still basically free. I guess it makes sense for Comcast to say, well, we got to play in that arena as well. I'll tell you what I got to say. I got to say, hey, it's Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm glad you found that. Big Pee-wee, musical director. That's awesome. That could be my new theme song. Hey, we got a friend in studio. I want to say hi to David Bergman. He's a professional photographer out of Manhattan, but actually these days you're traveling all over the place with Luke Gomez as his professional photographer.
I am country music star Luke Combs. I am
Combs. Did I say Gomez? I'm sorry, I misread your shirt. Like Combs. Everybody knows Luke Combs. Everybody's saying, who's Luke Gomez? Luke Combs. So how long is that tour?
We're out all year long. We started in January.
That's crazy.
And every show sold out. Every arena show sold out in a weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you are doing something kind of cool. You have a workshop that you do.
Yeah.
From the concert. It's called Shoot from the Pit.
Yeah, I teach a number of workshops I've taught a number of workshops over the years, and this one I get a lot of requests from people who want to learn to shoot concert photography and then actually get to shoot a show. And there's never really been a way to do that. So I've worked it out with Luke's people and his management.
So they actually get to go in the pit where the pros are?
So they spend during the day with me. They spend with me learning how to shoot concerts, everything about aperture shutter speeds. We tour the venue and the tour buses. We go backstage. We eat in catering with the crew and everybody.
Oh, what a treat. And if you're a Luke Combs fan.
Right. Well, you don't get to hang with Luke, but this is actually a workshop.
Yeah, but you get to skip right up front when he's singing.
And then, then they get to shoot the show with me in the photo pit all around the venue, all access, all angles for the entire show, which is virtually unheard of, even for press photographers.
We should mention that David is one of just a few dozen Canon Inspire the Aircraft. What's it called?
Explorer of Light.
Explorer of Light. So you shoot Canon 1D, I would imagine.
1DX Mark IIs, yeah. I've got about 3 of those and a 5D Mark IV with me, and the new EOS R, the mirrorless.
Oh, yeah, they just came out with it. Now, what do your workshop participants shoot with?
Whatever they want. Canon's been a nice supporter, so I do have some 1DX Mark IIs that they can play with if they want to, but you can use your own gear. It's all good.
If you can't lift the 1DX Mark II, you can use your own gear. Exactly. So you said you had a question.
Yeah, so at these workshops, I've been using a projector. When I'm teaching, I have slideshows and all kinds of information. And I have I need to travel with it, so it's obviously got to be small. But I can't find one that has great resolution.
Oh yeah, these little Pico
And is
projectors. Yeah. Not only that, they're not very bright.
Yeah, does it just not exist because of the size? Is
I
there a
think
middle
so.
ground? Because Canon will send me a giant one. But
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
don't
gonna
want
travel
that.
with that. And so they're, the little ones I travel with, they just don't look very good. The resolution's really low. They're bright enough because I can usually
You can dim. You're in a dark concert hall. And,
but it's the resolution. I'm showing a lot of photos, and they're like 640 by whatever, and it'll up.
how
res them.
small to you is small? I guess that's the question.
Well, I'm projecting onto a surface. If I've got 5 people in the room, because we only allow 5 photographers per show.
Right,
This is real exclusive. So, it's maybe 6 feet wide or so.
Yeah.
And it just looks, you can see all the pixels, and even the text looks really blocky.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's some middle.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do a little research, or maybe we'll ask our audience. I was looking at our sponsor Epson's site, and it looks like they've moved into home theater almost exclusively. It's all cinema projectors, as opposed to what you want, which is, we used to call them PowerPoint projectors. Those are going to be a little bit smaller. Home cinema is going to be a great resolution. They'll be 1080p or 4K, but they may not be as small as you'd like. They tend to have multiple LCDs and all that.
I've got multiple bags filled with cameras.
You don't need to carry that around. We'll do some research, David.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll see if we can figure that out. It's a great question. And shootfromthepit.com. Give you a plug there. Thank you. This stuff is great. So if you, chat room or anybody listening, if you want to call 8888 Ask Leo, you got a small light projector that's going to give him great results. What are you projecting from a laptop or a tablet?
HDMI.
Just HDMI out of a laptop. All right. I bet we can get that answered. Meanwhile, let's go to Roger in Rochester, New York. Hi, Roger.
Hi there.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. My wife and I have been fortunate enough to inherit scrapbooks from my parents, her parents, and her grandparents.
Oh, how wonderful. And they kept those for years, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We want to scan the photos in, obviously, because we don't would like to be able to send out the photos to other people.
Right.
Is there a way to caption those photos so that people looking at it on a CD or something can say, this is Grandpa Jones or whatever? I know you can change a file name, but other than that, is there any?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of services that will scan these in. Do you want to do it yourself? Because that's a lot of work.
I want to do it myself.
Yeah, because I was just about to say, on the other hand, do you really want to send these scrapbooks through the mail?
No.
Yeah, they're too precious, right? You may find in Rochester, given that it's the home of Kodak, there may be somebody who will do it locally.
Work there.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. There may be somebody who in town who will do this. In fact, I guarantee you there is. But you want to make sure they don't ship them somewhere else. If you bring it to Costco or somewhere, they're just going to ship it somewhere else. So
right.
You want somebody to do it on premises. You can do it yourself. What you need, though, is after-the-fact software that'll let you build kind of photo album CDs with navigation. And there are a number of companies that do exactly that. This is not an unusual.
What I really want to do is some way when I scan it, I can caption it across the photo or something, because after I've scanned several hundred of them, I'm not going to know.
I wouldn't recommend that, only because that's going to always be on that photo.
Well, and that's true, but that's exactly what I want.
Well,
you
can, I understand, but you can attach that data to the photo in what we call metadata that isn't visible on screen, but is always part of the photo. There's two kinds of metadata for photos. There's EXIF, which is extended information, and there's IPTC, which was essentially for the AP photographers, I think, were the first to come up with it. And it has all sorts of room for information. You could write a short story if you want, and it would be attached to the photo file, to the JPEG, or even a TIFF if you want a higher quality. But it would be attached to it, but not visible on the screen.
But my problem is a lot of the people who will see these they're going to look at a picture. They're not going to know.
Well, I got an answer for that too.
Okay. Great.
Because the right kind of photo album software will add a caption, on-screen caption.
Okay.
So you'll
that's
still,
what I'm looking for.
yeah, you'll still get all the advantage of a pure picture if you don't want to. You don't want to scan it in and ruin the picture immediately by burning into the image who this is. I think that's kind of a bad idea. So for years I used Magix's software. They call it Photo Manager Deluxe, and it will allow you to do all of the things I just talked about, which is organize it, add captions, add information, and then burn a DVD out of it so that you can share it with family and friends. It's only $50. It's inexpensive, and best of all, you can download a trial version of it, which I would suggest doing before you.
Okay, great.
But I think Magix is they've been around a long time. David, do you have something you like? Photo Mechanic. That's kind of a little more pro. I use Photo Mechanic as well. It's a great little program. And would it let you burn a DVD with? Yeah. See, a lot of photographers do this. If you're a wedding photographer, that's probably the primary way you give the bride the images. And in fact, it might even be one of the things you sell them. So, a lot of work to scan these in, but boy, is that going to be worthwhile. Yeah, and if I'd had a little more time, I would have recommended the Epson photo scanners. Do you have a scanner for it yet? Oh, he's gone. Shoot. Yeah, Epson makes some really nice photo scanners. Thing is, you're going to be really careful with this because you don't want to destroy the scrapbook, so you can't take the picture off the page. You're going to somehow unbind the scrapbook. Let's hope you can. Most scrapbooks you can. Take the page out, scan the whole page, and you want software to let you say, and that's the image I want. Epson usually comes with software that'll do that. Denmos says he loves your work with Bon Jovi. Yeah, I should have mentioned that. Years with Bon Jovi. Yeah. Chris, do you have a program that you like for that kind of thing?
Well, first of all, I hardly ever get this question. I know there are programs out there that can take where you can take a photo of an entire scrapbook page and it will identify the photos and then basically cut them out for you. And most cameras nowadays, even smartphones, have good resolution to do that. So instead of scanning, that will be probably faster. We'll
just
probably
take a picture.
Require,
in other words. Yeah,
we'll probably require a bit more.
I did that with
when it
my
comes to
daughter.
lighting
She
and so
wanted
on.
to digitize her portfolio of pen and ink drawings. So we set up an easel with even lighting, set up a tripod, and then that makes it so much easier because you put everything's all set. All you have to do is put the picture on the easel, take a picture. Put the picture on the easel, take a picture. It's so much faster than scanning.
No, I now even do this with a lot of the negatives that I don't scan them anymore, especially 24 by 36 negatives.
Yeah, nowadays that's a good point. I mean, your high quality camera is better quality. Even a good point and shoot is probably better quality than most scanners.
Yeah, I mean, if you use a flatbed scanner for your small negatives, you end up with maybe 5 to 10 usable megapixels. If you have a good macro lens and a little copy stand, and a little light to put under the negative, you get the resolution that your camera has pretty much. So you have a 24 megapixel camera. That's more than your flatbed scanner will give you.
Isn't that amazing? Jeez.
Yeah, it's wild. The times are changing.
Let's see. I think you go into my important folder. Yes, you do. Apple. That's weird. Has Flickr finally gotten rid of the Flash slideshow?
Nope.
Come
quite
on,
yet.
McCaskills.
Not
Come
quite
on.
yet.
All right, I got your
But they have now begun to migrate your login over to their own infrastructure.
Yes, thank God.
Finally, we're getting rid of the Yahoo login.
Oh, man.
Which is a good first step. I think looking under the hood of Flickr, there must be a lot of spaghetti going on. I mean, to untangle that must be horror.
Chris
job.
McCaskill told me, though, that his engineering team and the Yahoo engineering team, even before the acquisition, had shared a lot of code, had kind of worked together. So they at least understood the code base. That was a big part of it, is they were very familiar with the Yahoo code base. Nevertheless, that's a big change. Yeah, I use Photo Mechanic and Lightroom. So I import using Photo Mechanic, and that way I could quickly go through the RAWs, Lightroom's so slow with RAWs, though. You don't use it at all.
No, I'm still using Aperture.
What?
I told Tim Cook that last night.
David still uses Aperture. It still works?
It does. It won't work on the next one that's 64-bit.
That's the last. This is the last version you can use it with.
Capture One now.
Yeah, Capture One's okay. Yeah. So with Sony's, you get a Sony only version of Capture One, which is a pretty nice. Yeah, that's a pretty nice spiff.
I'm gonna use Aperture until
I've been using Lightroom so long. I was
on the advisory board and I love it. For an Aperture.
Oh, wow.
It was in a Cupertino.
That's how we know you're an old timer, David. Mama, don't take my Kodachrome. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again for Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. This is the photo half hour on the show. Chris is at discoverthetopfloor.com. And we were talking before the break with our caller who wanted to take his family scrapbooks, scan them, make a DVD that he could give out to the rest of the family that would do a little slideshow with captions and all that. And you actually had a good suggestion. We hadn't really talked about how to scan it. You said, don't get a scanner.
I mean, it's a lot of stuff is now with the cameras getting better and having better resolution, even smartphones. A lot of that job that was this for a scanner is now going to the cameras. Even I scan, in air quotes, I scan a lot of my negatives now by just taking pictures of them with a good macro lens and a camera that has over 30 megapixels of resolution. So there is software out there. I wouldn't be able to name any, but I know there's software out there that will let you take a picture of a page with multiple pictures on it, detect them, and then suggest frames to crop out for you. So you could use a scrapbook.
Most scanner software will do that, but if you're doing it with a camera, then you'll have to find something that'll do that. Yeah, it's really changed. I did that. My daughter does a lot of pen and ink drawings, and she wanted a portfolio digitized, and that's exactly what I did. Set up a copy stand, lit it evenly, set up a tripod with my camera, and then it's so fast because you put the page there, shoot it, next page, shoot it, next page, shoot it. So it's much faster than scanning and much higher resolution, actually, as long as you have it flat, right?
Scanning a lot of pictures yourself can become quite frustrating.
But
it takes a while.
Let's get to the meat of the matter, because today, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Marquardt is going to review our assignment, Apple.
Well, and it's again, let me remind everyone, that's an assignment that didn't come from me, that came from the community, from the people on the Flickr Tech Guy group, especially by user 999 photos by Ari. And Ari suggested the assignment Apple in a very literal way, not one of these usually we did these think around the corner things, but this was literally take a picture of an apple, a beautiful picture of an apple, or an interesting picture of an apple, and a lot of people did that. So
I love this.
We definitely hit a nerve with that.
Yeah.
So I've picked 3 of them as usual, and we'll just go through them one by one. The first one is by, I'll let you try to pronounce that name.
It's German, isn't it? You should be able to do it. Peter
Höschel. Peter Höschel. Hi, Peter.
Okay. Is that German or Dutch?
Sounds possibly Austrian.
Oh, maybe Austrian. Yeah, those Austrians. It's a whole different world. Okay.
Yeah, but could be German. So Peter has a very interesting take on that, because what he did is he took a picture of a sliced apple, but it's not just a sliced apple, it's the slices hanging in midair and the apple too. So it's an interesting take on an apple. I really like it. It's a slight little bit around the corner, but not too much. So that's why I left it in. And you start to think, how did he do this? He probably didn't throw it in there and caught it there.
It's like Fruit Ninja.
I like Fruit Ninja, right? It might be on a sheet of glass, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe it's hanging from threads that he
added them
that he cloned out later on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's a challenge, and
shot.
He also can't have taken too much time with it, because the apples are there's no brown part of the cut apple. So did a good job. So.
Yay, Peter.
I like that one.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Next image.
Next one, again, you try to pronounce that name. Wiebeke Fries, I guess. Sounds Dutch.
Well, we have an international audience, and I like that.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And I like this photo for a couple of reasons. Well, first of all, reflections are fun. So we're looking at an apple that sits on a reflective surface. And one thing you can tell here, it's a black surface, it's a black background, so the apple really pops out, which also makes the reflection quite strong. And the second thing is I've just returned from holding a workshop over the weekend about tabletop photography. And we did exactly these kind of things.
Cool.
So we played with reflections. We played with setting up little scenes and shots and product photography. So this one it's right in my ballpark right now. So I like this. It's a very simple photo, but the reflection just makes it so much more interesting. So good job on that one as well.
I want to, when I retire, I just want to take photo workshops from David and you, and just like the rest of my life, just tabletop. What another great, interesting, creative way.
Oh, there's a lot going on in the
inspire your
tabletop
photography.
field right now. There's a lot of people who are trying to who are working with toys right now, setting up entire scenes based on little toyscapes and working on those with macro lenses and adding smoke and adding little firework effects and stuff. So there's this is an interesting field right now, and you can do it at home. So maybe not the firework, but
Sure, why not?
All right. Last but not least, third picture
I
I chose is by
so
Tom
cute.
Downing. And it's not just an apple. It's an apple on a lawn, on a green lawn. And the apple is being chased by a puppy. And
You can't lose if you've got a bounding puppy in your picture.
puppies always work. And this one, I mean, this is so full of life. The red apple in this picture is really it draws the eye towards it. It's a nice red-green contrast, a nice primary color contrast here. And the puppy, of course, I mean, it's so lively. Living beings in photos is always great, and the puppy always wins. So he or she's having fun, and the apple is in focus. I mean, technically, it's a good photo. And just from a content point of view, it's a heartwarming photo. I like it.
Oh, it's great. You look at a photo like this and you think, wow, just that's an example of the right shot at exactly the right moment.
Perfect timing as well.
Yeah,
yes.
perfect timing. And yet, I think a really great photographer makes more of those happen by kind of knowing where to sit and what to expect and just preparing for it.
And anticipating when stuff is going to happen.
Yeah. So whenever I see a perfect timing photo, I don't want to say, "Oh, that guy was just lucky," because sometimes it's preparation. I love it. The puppy's all in the sun. The sun's sparkling on his fur. It's just
and the background
beautiful.
is darker, so the puppy has nice contrast, and everything's good about
everything.
This photo,
came into place there. Well,
That's
Chris,
a winner.
Yes. 3 nice
have a new
photos, but a
assignment.
bunch of great photos from all of our photographers. Thank you for participating. Remember, this isn't a contest. It's about, having fun, a chance to get out there and take more pictures. So give us a new assignment, Chris. I'm going to write this one down.
We have this Flickr group, and there is a discussion thread where people will suggest new assignments, and we will stick with a very literal one. User Demilante suggested to continue the specific subject theme and create an assignment based on buildings, because buildings can be big and small, and there can be all sorts of different buildings, and they look different at different times of day. So the next assignment is building.
Technical question.
Yes.
Could these buildings be on a tabletop?
Let's
Or you want
let's
an
get a few surprises here.
Yeah, all right.
Well,
just buildings.
a toy building, a Lego building is a building as
That's
well.
a building,
isn't it?
Okay. This is fun. I really enjoy this. Chris Marquardt. You can find out more about his wonderful workshops at discoverthetopfloor.com. He travels too, so they're not all in Germany, his home country. They're all over the world. Discover
the biggest one is Greenland coming up in September.
Oh, man.
Greenland.
But don't be fooled by the name. It's really mostly icy.
Well, it's
Iceland
still beautiful.
taken.
It's still beautiful.
DiscoverTheTopFloor.com. He's got great books, too, and he joins us every week. You can upload your submission for the buildings assignment at Flickr. There's a tech guy group right there. Thank you, Chris. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Awesome. I like, the fact that we got these great images out of Apple tells me this is probably a good idea to do these specific.
Oh yeah. Oh, I will stick with that. If we get good suggestions, I'm all for it.
We got
definitely
some really nice images. It's really great.
Yeah, it was a tough choice this time.
Yeah,
it's really good stuff coming
really
in.
Good images. Did you get any projector recommendations? Not yet. Let me keep looking too here. Epson's it's expensive. That's not going to be good though. It's WXGA, which is good enough resolution. I think 1280 by 800, maybe not. Do you want higher than that? That would be great. Yeah. Anchor has a couple of those little anchors. I forgot about those. But they're more for TV, right? They are certainly portable. There's for streaming. The Nebula. There's another one. The Optoma? Let me look here. Yeah, I forgot about Anchor. They have some really nice stuff. Yeah, they've been branching out. Are they a good company? They seem like they're great company. I like what they make. Here's a soda can-sized pocket projector. The capsule projector. It's battery powered. Let's see what the resolution is, though.
Sometimes they say HD or
Yeah, you want the native resolution. Right, native. Yeah.
And I don't think they make them in that size.
These are designed. I bet you it's 720, but let me.
I guess is it just the nature of it needs more.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah. I wish they said. Yeah, 720. Yeah, they a lot of them are 720 because that's the lowest resolution you can say. It's still high def. The capsule 2, maybe it'll be better. There's the Mars. I think the Prism is the one you want. Let's look at the Prism 2. That's 1080p, which would probably be good enough. 40 inches to 120 inches.
It's what, 1920 by 1080, right?
Yeah. 1080p is good. $269. It looks pretty portable. Yeah. The Nebula Prism 2. It's not super bright. It's bright enough, though.
I bought a fabric screen that folds.
Oh, nice.
Roll it up.
Yeah.
Gaffer tape it to the wall.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I trust these guys. I think they do a pretty good job. Our show today brought to you by LastPass. Let me tell you, I keep all my, not just passwords. I want to say this. LastPass is nominally a password vault, the password vault, the best password vault. But it's so secure, I put other stuff in there too. I put my passport images in there for when I travel because I have access to my LastPass everywhere, on my phones, on my laptop, everywhere. So it's a great way of carrying that with me as I go. And it's secure. No one can see it except me. Put my driver's license. I even put my social security numbers in there. I tell you how much I trust LastPass. We use it in the company, LastPass Enterprise, to lock down everything. Honestly, as much as it's great to have employees because it saves me a lot of energy, when you got a company, you're giving employees the passwords to your bank account, your databases, your website. You're giving them the keys to the kingdom. Now, we trust our employees, but employees don't always have the best security practices in mind. Sometimes they share passwords, even with people who don't work at the company. You got to use LastPass. LastPass protects you at all times. In fact, our employees love it because they know they don't have to worry. They're secure. They don't have to write a password, put it on a Post-it note on the screen. When we give people access to, for instance, our check accounts, they don't even see the password. They just double-click it in LastPass. It opens up the website, logs them in. They're done. So if we change the password, it's automatically changed for them. LastPass lets you secure your password vault with one long master password. LastPass Enterprise gives you administrative oversight. You can say things like, as we do, about the master password strength. You can require two-factor authentication, which we do. In fact, LastPass Authenticator is a free one-tap password verification process for two-factor. That's awesome. 100 different policies that you can enforce. We use them because we want it to be secure, right? You get actionable security reports. You can manage password security, automate user management, control shared access, move to the cloud, revoke passwords when needed. LastPass, it's great for individuals. That's LastPass Premium. It's great for families. That's LastPass Families. I use that at home because I can share. I have a family folder. Any password I put in there is automatically shared with Lisa. She also is my emergency access contact. So if something should happen to me, I'm disabled or pass away, she can request access to my vault so that she can execute my will and all that. LastPass for Teams is for teams of 50 fewer, and then we use LastPass Enterprise. I love LastPass, and I'm not alone. Join the 13.5 million people who use LastPass and are loving it and trusting it. LastPass.com/twit for you, for your business, for your family. That's the only one I use and recommend. I've used them for years. LastPass.com/twit. We thank them for their support, for protecting us at Twit. We thank you for using that URL and showing your support for the Tech Guy podcast. LastPass.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. On we go to Bobby in Long Beach. Hello, Bobby. Leo Laporte.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I am well, my friend. Thank you, sir, for holding on. I appreciate your patience.
No, please. I listen to you in the weekend. Even I chew up unless I'm at the grandkids' ball game, I'm listening to you watching you on my computer. So
nice.
Make this
Thank
real
you.
quick.
Okay.
I met you in the studio a couple of years ago. I brought you a Ninja Turtle poster.
Oh, I have it still. I love it.
I wanted to give you one for Michael because I signed it to you.
Yes.
So when I come up to
next
the Grove
time
this summer, I will come by and drop one off for Michael.
And remind me what you do with the Ninja Turtles.
I wrote the first Ninja Turtle movie.
Oh, you're not Michelangelo?
No, but Leonardo did want me to say
Leonardo, I mean, yes.
We're looking at our 30th anniversary this next year.
Holy cow. Holy cow.
We're going to be doing the Comic-Cons and stuff, which will be fun. So
you wrote the first one. Wow. Is
very
that cool?
well. Let's put it real quick. I think I told you that day. I spent 3 months pitching it in Hollywood, and they were calling my agent asking me who the stoner was that was trying to sell a turtle idea. And my agent said, I don't know about the pot, but I know the movie. I know that the turtles are for real.
Turtles named after Italian Renaissance artists, no less.
That's right. They said, and I'm always asked, what were you on?
Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael.
Very good. I don't want to. You've got a lot of people want to get on. Leo, a couple of quick questions.
Yes.
I took your advice after the fires down here, having some friends lose their homes in the fires, along with their stuff they had backed up. And I said, this is a wake-up call from Leo for all of us to get stuff backed up away from our homes.
Yes. As soon as I see these fires, it reminds me of a friend of mine, a famous novelist. I won't say her name because I don't want to embarrass her, who had a novel. She had it all written in her home during the Oakland fires of about 30 years ago. Lost it. Lost everything. This is Robert Hayes, the actor from the movie Airplane. His son Jake is a very good musician. Had everything banked on his computer and a little backup external hard drive, not away from home, and lost all of it. Oh.
So I immediately put carbonite, and I will tell those listening, take Leo's advice, but also learn. I thought there was something wrong with my computer. It didn't back up just in a couple of hours. It took a couple of days to back my
Something
computer
very
up.
important. It may take longer because remember, people assume that when they think about their internet speed, that big number they give you is the number you're going to be using. No, it's the little second number they de-emphasize.
That's right.
And even then, it doesn't use all of that because if it did, you wouldn't have any internet access. So it can only take a fraction of your upload speed. That means if you've got a few hundred gigabytes to back up, yes, it will take a while. It might take weeks.
Right. Now, the question is, when I was in the middle of all of that, I was having a few bumps in the road, and I will say Carbonite is so great. There's customer service people. You get them fast, and they follow up. They're great. However, it sounds like I work for Carbonite. The last gentleman told me, "Oh, well, you have everything encrypted on your computer, so you need to decrypt it because if you ever need to get it back, you're not."
Here's why he says that. You can still back it up, but it's not going to be backed up as individual files because Carbonite can't see that. All Carbonite can see is an encrypted blob. So you can't say, well, I want that file and I want that file.
No, but I had my computer, I had it encrypted, okay?
As you should, but that encrypted blob is Carbonite can back it up, but it's all blob. It's not individual files.
That's right. So when I had to go back and upload it again, I had to decrypt first and then upload it back to them. Does that sound right?
Yeah, if you want to see individual files. Now, let me ask you how you were encrypting. Were you encrypting with whole disk encryption?
No, I remember, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I owe 2 here. I'm about a 3.
Oh, Bobby, come on.
So I go into the preferences and I go encrypt and the file vault, right? And I go encrypt.
Oh, you're using a Mac. It's on File Vault. Okay.
Right.
I'm surprised because the way File Vault or BitLocker on Windows works, once you've logged in, everything's decrypted. So you're not using Carbonite when you're not logged in. It only works when you're logged in. And Carbonite should, at that point, be able to see all your files. Now, there may be a permissions aspect to this that I'm not aware of.
Right.
But it should, I don't think...
Was it okay to decrypt? I decrypted everything and then re-uploaded it to Carbonite.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the reasons when you put files on Dropbox or Google Drive or OneDrive or any cloud service, they say it's encrypted on the way to us.
Right.
But they say maybe it's encrypted in place. But honestly, to do with the things that they do, like deduplicate because they don't want to make 18 copies of the same thing, to be able to give you access to individual files, they have to have the encryption key. It can't be encrypted without their knowledge. And as that's just part of the way it's necessary for these services to work. I don't know enough about what Carbonite's doing to know why File Vault. I don't think File Vault should get in the way. I'm kind of surprised to hear that. Because as I said, it is decrypted once you're logged in.
Yeah, he said if you ever have to pull this out from us, if you need it to do get stuff back, it should be decrypted when you send it to us, not encrypted.
I would call them again. I think maybe you got somebody who misunderstood.
Geez, go figure.
If you had a blob, if you said, okay, I want to take this folder, I'm going to encrypt this folder, and then I'm going to back it up. Right. Then you would be backing up an encrypted file that would be seen by Carbonite as a single file, not a folder. And that means you couldn't go into that folder and pull a file out of it, restore a file. You could only restore the thing as an entire blob, which you would then have to decrypt before you could see inside it. It would treat it all as a blob. I think the rep you were talking to mistook what you were saying or misunderstood how File Vault works, because as far as I know, BitLocker and File Vault, which are the BitLockers for Windows, File Vault for Mac, these are the built-in encryption services provided by the operating system. Right. The whole idea is once you're logged in, it's unencrypted, and any program otherwise you couldn't open a file with Microsoft Word because it would be encrypted.
Yeah, well, that's what he was saying to me. So, because you send it to us encrypted, we send it back to you. You're not going to be able to understand what's come back to you.
Yeah, I'm looking at Carbonite's support about File Vault. With file, this is what they say. So this actually does confirm what the rep said to you. It'll work, but they don't like it. With File Vault enabled, Carbonite does not recognize the files that were already backed up and tries to back them up from scratch because of Apple's encryption process. In other words, it can't do what we call incremental backup, and that's what you want. You mentioned how long it took. It would take that long every time. Yeah. So the way Carbonite or any cloud service works, you make one big backup, and then you only back up changes from then on. But Carbonite says with File Vault turned on, we cannot do that. So that really makes it untenable. In addition, using Carbonite to back up a File Vault user directory, I'm reading from Carbonite's tech note, can cause performance issues. Because of these factors, which cannot currently be worked around, it's not recommended to actively use both File Vault and Carbonite.
Right.
That's disappointing, but I understand why.
Hold my hand. Stay where I am with it. I decrypted and went through the process. It didn't take as long, thank God, but it did take a few days. I just think people should know there's nothing wrong. It just takes a little.
The first time. But that's the whole idea of the incremental backup. After that, it should be instantaneous because you're only backing up changes.
It was 500 gigabytes.
500 gigabytes, but then you change one file. Only that file gets uploaded unless you're using File Vault.
Right. Listen, I don't want to eat. I could talk to you like most people forever. Keep up the great work. Aloha. And as we say in my home, cowabunga, dude. Great to hear you.
Cowabunga, dude. Bobby, great to talk to you again. I appreciate it. Come up and see us again. I'd love to see you.
I will.
Take care, Bobby. Oh, that's yeah. So he said something really important. It doesn't have to be carbonate. Carbonate, of course, is a sponsor, so I appreciate that plug. But it doesn't have to be carbonate. It has to be off-site. You have to have one backup that is not in your house in case of fire or something else. Damage. If the house falls apart, you don't want all your backups to go with it. So I agree. Off-site backup is absolutely critical. Thank you, Bobby. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Yeah, it's time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, big projectors, little projectors, PowerPoint projectors, video projectors, augmented reality, virtual reality, drones, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to call and ask a question or make a suggestion. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Let's get back to the phones. Lots of calls. Sorry to keep you all waiting. We're going to get to Erwin in the Bronx. Hey, Erwin.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good also.
Good.
Got a quickie question about smartphones.
Yes, sir.
Being an old guy, I generally use nothing more than a flip phone.
That's the hallmark of old guys. You know that, right?
What's that?
Oh, you must be an old guy. You're using a flip phone.
Exactly. Anyway.
No shame. I don't shame anybody for that. That's fine.
No, I've been using it for years and I really don't care. But
yeah.
What's begun to happen is suddenly texting has become part of my life.
Oh, you can't text from one of those things.
Oh, yes, you can, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, you have to press if you want C, you have to press 1 3 times. A, B, C. That's like, oh, man, that's painful.
Try to find a space bar. Anyway, be that as it may, what I'm also looking to do is probably buy something, I guess, simple, an iPhone, an Android device. But I'm not looking for the latest thing because I don't really need it. It's just simply a phone and something to text with, and maybe something like Park New York, so I can use it to pay parking meters.
So you want to run some apps. You want to text with an actual keyboard, or at least an on-screen, but one with letters and numbers and a space bar. And you're going to want to make phone calls. Do you think, though, you'll ever want to take pictures with it? Because I have to tell you, the cameras are pretty good in these phones. And
I understand that. I also carry a camera with me all the time.
Okay.
I'm one of those street photographer people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm not looking to supplant the point and shoot that I carry around with me.
Okay.
If I get a camera with it, that's great, but it's not a priority. Okay. Just like some apps, maybe if I could, get a picture that maybe I left my camera home for some reason, that would be great.
I tell you, once you have a camera phone, you find all sorts of uses. When I get to a restaurant, if they have a menu board in the front of the restaurant with the specials, I take a picture, go sit down. I have to go look at that. If I have a document I want to remember, if I can't remember my parking space, I take a picture of it. You'll soon find all sorts of ways to use a camera phone. You could use a point and shoot to do that, but a camera phone makes it a little bit easier. And nowadays, many of these cameras are as good as the point and shoots. Some of them are even better. But anyway, if it's not important, that saves you some money because you have to get a more higher end phone to get really good cameras. I'll tell you what I would look at, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you said older, cheaper, fine. The problem, unlike your flip phone, because these really are computers, there's a security issue involved with this. This phone, if somebody could get into it, could cause you a lot of problems. What happens with a smartphone, you put everything on here. It knows your location. It's got a microphone. It's got a camera. It's important to keep it secure. As important, if not more important, than your desktop or your home computer. So for that reason, I generally say there's two ways to go. You can get an iPhone. Any iPhone you can buy will be secure. If you get an Android phone, they tend to be cheaper, less expensive, but you want to make sure that you get one that has the latest version of Android on it and that the manufacturer has promised we're going to keep this up to date for at least a couple of years. You're in a new world from your flip phone. Your flip phone, you didn't care about security. You didn't care about updates.
Yes.
Right?
Handle that.
That snake game is just as good today as it was 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm talking to you on.
Yeah. It probably sounds better than any smartphone. That's the other thing you may, because they don't like they want to hide the antennas. Smartphones are not phones anymore. They're computers with a good camera. And maybe if you want to make some phone calls.
Could you recommend a site where I could buy a used one?
Well, with used, you can go to Apple and get a refurbished iPhone for a few $100. And have you thought about iPhone versus Android? Do you have an opinion there?
I had an Android phone, which seemed like a lot of fun because I started fooling around with it like I do with my PC.
Yes.
The PC that I've got now, I built.
And you have great insight because, in fact, that's exactly what's different about Android. iPhone, it's Apple's way or the highway. Android, any way you want it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at Android, I would look at the Moto G. They just came out with the G7, the G6, or the G7. These are
Moto G7?
Moto, short for Motorola. They call them Motos. The G series is their kind of, I don't want to say cheap phone. They're mid-price phone. You can get them from $200 to $400. And they're just great. And they're up to date. They're the latest version of Android. They actually have fairly good cameras. They're fairly speedy. They're very nice. So I think better than buying a used phone. A used phone is going to be pretty used. Unlike a computer, people bang their phones up. So that's a new phone that's going to be a pretty good price. Apple sells refurbished iPhones at a fairly good price. A little more expensive, but not bad.
Right.
And you won't be getting the latest iPhone, but that's the good news because people who use iPhones tend to want the latest iPhones. There's usually a brisk resale market in the older iPhones. We have a sponsor on our podcast called Gazelle, GAZELLE.com. They sell refurbished Samsung and iPhone phones for pretty good price. You get to choose the condition. And what I like about that is they certify it. And then they back it up with a money back guarantee. So you have 30 days. You're not going to get a pig in a poke. So if you really want to use phone, go somewhere reliable like that. Don't go on eBay.
No, I've stopped using eBay about 10 years ago.
It's really easy to get ripped off there.
I know.
If you're going to get a refurbed phone, and you can get it from the manufacturer like at Apple, search for Apple refurb store. I can't remember what they call it, factory outlet refurb, but it's refurbed phones. Those have fairly good prices. Look at Gazelle just to see what some options are. And then I think the Moto G, for anybody who likes Android, the Moto G series is a great choice. Very, affordable and yet not a huge sacrifice in quality.
Yeah. I assume that I have to get something that's already hooked up with Verizon because that's my service provider.
You do not. You can get an unlocked phone. You make sure it's not locked to any other carrier and take it into your Verizon store. They'll put a SIM in it. Or you could take the SIM out of your old phone if you have one. I think
no, this phone that I've got
doesn't have a SIM. It's a CDMA phone, yeah. The new ones are LTE and they use SIMs. So you go to the Verizon store, say, I want to transfer my account to this phone. You can bring your own phone. And they'll put a SIM in it and you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you very, very, very much for your help. And
my pleasure. Yeah. Chat room is saying there's an alternative to Gazelle I have never used because I'm a longtime Gazelle user called Swappa, SWAPPA. So there's another place you could shop around, I guess, if you want to get a deal.
Okay, Swappa and Gazelle.
Yep.
Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you for listening. Do you ever put your street photography up on the internet or anything, or is it just for you?
It's just for me.
I love street photography.
I do a lot in New York City.
Yeah, if I were in the city, I would never leave the house without a camera. There's so much to see. There's so many interesting. It's just great.
Yeah. Okay.
Have fun. See you later. Or show. That's my favorite kind of photography, street photography. But I'm shy and it's hard because you pull out a camera, people are With a camera phone, maybe you're a little less obvious. Take a quick picture. Pretend you're Snapchatting. I've been with celebrities, and they'll go, "See that guy over there?" I said, "Yeah." "He's doing the fake selfie." "What?" "He's taking a picture of me, but pretending he's taking a picture of himself." "What? People do that?" "All the time, Lee. All the time." Nothing geeks like doing more than dancing, right? 88. Yeah, I'd crack myself up. 8888 Ask Leo, line 3. Douglas in 2 Dot, Montana. Hello, Douglas.
How are you doing?
I am well. Did I say that right? 2 Dot?
2 Dot.
2 Dot.
Correct.
What can I do for you, Douglas?
Well, what I have is I have phone service. I don't know if I can say the name of the company.
Always. We like to name names here.
It's Straight Talk. I have it on one phone.
You got it at your Walmart?
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
And anyway, I had put it on an iPhone 5 to begin with. This was like 2 years ago or maybe a little longer. Worked pretty good. And that's kind of a backup phone for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed here after the first of the year, after I bought a year contract with them, by the way, that the internet was not working very well. And I call them up. They say the iPhone 5 will be obsolete in February of 2020. That I have to get a different phone.
They say, well, that's an interesting thing.
And so
I don't know if that's strictly speaking true.
Well, they're too far away in India for me to strangle them.
So there's two possibilities here. It is true. It is the case that Apple no longer supports the iPhone 5. But that doesn't... I can
still update it.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not going to work.
Anyway.
It may be that Straight Talk has decided we don't want to support it. I don't know if that
could be.
I don't know if that may be more what's going on.
But I did go out and buy a used or refurbished iPhone 7. And they said when I get that,
good,
take the SIM card out.
Yep.
Put it in the new phone.
Yep.
The new phone does not work.
Oh. Did you turn it off and on again?
Yeah. Okay. I rebooted it. I threw it against the wall. I done everything. But they say now I have to get another SIM card.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes SIMs get damaged or, yeah, that could be.
Oh. Well, like I said, it wasn't working in the iPhone 5. If I known I could just buy a 99-cent SIM card, I probably would have done that.
Yeah, they sell them cheap. Many phone companies, you just go into the store and they'll put a new one in for you.
Well, they didn't say that.
Yeah. Is there a Walmart nearby?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty close, about 80 miles.
I guess close has a different meaning in Montana.
Yep. And we have airplanes out here, too. So.
That's a beautiful state. I love Montana.
Yeah, the lady that answered the phone, were you talking to her earlier in your program?
I talk to her all the time. Why?
Well, no.
You want her phone number?
Well, she does sound kind of cute. But
she's really cute.
Well, I only got 3 things going for me anyway, so,
How many things, Kim, do you need for a guy to have going for him? Now you're making her blush.
Well, I tell you, I live in 2 Dot, and I only got 3 things going for me.
2 of them are dots.
Well, no.
No?
They're just itsy-bitsy little things. Looks, personality, and money.
Kim?
Those are 3 good things.
Are those 3? Those are pretty good ones.
Those are 3 acceptable things.
Looks, personality, and money.
Being you have her on here, she was talking about kind of getting some nut jobs that call in.
You're not one of them, are you?
Well, I could kind of do my Jack Nicholson imitation.
Uh-oh. Now he's got 4 things going for him. He also does impressions.
Leo, that's personality.
Oh, that's one of the 3. Okay, good.
I condense things really close.
Anyway, that's good. We'll get you. I'll put you on hold after we're done, and you and Kim can work this out on your own.
Anyway, the phone thing, an iPhone 5. If I would have just got another SIM card,
Yeah. So here's
probably a work.
What I can't tell is what they're saying when they said it,
Well, I can't understand them either.
No, don't start doing Indian impressions. I get in trouble here. So what the thing is that iPhone 5 won't go to iOS 12. We're at iOS 12 now, and we're going to be at 13.
The iPhone. Well, I updated it to 12.2.
And you were able to update it.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Because Apple said we're not going to do iOS 11 for the iPhone 5, so you were able to get 12. Good. Well,
it is an.
And that, by the way, does not mean it's not going to work. It just means it's not going to be as up to date for many people. That's fine. That's not an issue. Yeah. It's still secure.
Really, I didn't care if it, 4G versus 5G. 4G is.
You're never getting 5G in 2. Montana. Let me promise you that right now.
Well, you just don't know how well we're updated.
Unless you've got, unless your senator, who's that, Bob Corker, unless he lives in 2.
Danes, no, and I know him.
Yeah. Does he live in 2?
No, he lives in Bozeman.
Oh, yeah. The big city.
Well, he lives back there in D.C. now.
Yeah. So unless your senator,
really making the money now,
unless John Tester moves to 2.
Well, me and John don't get along.
Oh yeah, you like the Republican Steve Daines, huh?
Yeah. You got to meet John or Senator Tester. So
I have never met any senators in my life, so you're 2 ahead of me.
Oh,
but Montana's, it's the kind of state where you get to know the senator.
I've actually met the Senate House leaders. So
nice.
Anyway,
nice. You do have 3 things going for you. So I'm just teasing.
That's called money.
I'm just teasing. That's where the money comes in. You bet. So in fact, try the SIM again in the 5, but you said it didn't work.
They're sending me another one.
All right.
And so
you're gonna like that 7. It's a lot better.
Well, actually, I have a couple of iPhone 8s that I use more.
Well, you do have some money, don't you? You're just buying these things, but you said you want to use the you like the size of the 5.
Oh God, I love that.
Yeah, see
that it fits right in your phone.
That's why Apple still sells the SE, which is the form factor of the 5 with updated guts. That might be really the right one for you. If you like that size, get an SE. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Cautionary tale from Big Pee-wee for Kim Schaffer. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Big Pee-wee. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Line 1, Kevin in Malibu. Hi, Kevin.
Leo, hello.
Hello, Malibu.
Leo, help, brother.
Uh-oh, what's the matter?
I have lost over 100 gigabytes of MP3 music files on my Windows 10 laptop.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was just there, and then it was gone.
No, it's gone. What do you use to manage your music?
It wasn't a music thing. Here's what I think. I'm in the music business.
Okay.
So we distribute legal files through legal torrent.
Oh, interesting.
And I was using the Brave browser.
Yep, love it. That's all I use.
As a torrent client.
It supports torrents, yep.
Right. So that's where I had all this stuff in their kind of convoluted download system they have set up there. And then I tried this Torrent RT Free Plus, and somewhere in between that, when I went back to find those files, they were gone. I searched for the names.
BitTorrent is not supposed to ever erase anything. It's only supposed to download it.
Again, going a little further, in that Torrent RT Free Plus program, as it lists the torrents that are downloading, when it was done, there's a thing that says delete. And it was delete torrent, delete file, or delete data, delete all. So I deleted the torrent because I don't need that little file anymore.
Right.
That's all I can think of. So ultimately, who knows where it's gone? How can I get it
So
back?
those were the files that you've lost were the ones you were offering for torrent.
Right.
And those were what we call in BitTorrent terms the seed files.
Correct.
Maybe when they say delete the torrents, they mean delete the seed files.
Well, if the click right next to it says delete data, that would seem to me that would be that seed file. And the torrent would be the torrent file, the little torrent directory, so to speak.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, here's the deal. So you understand how BitTorrent works? I'm sure you do, since you're using it for distribution.
Yeah.
The idea of BitTorrent is that there is an original file, and that people who are downloading that file using BitTorrent can also make their copies or even their partial copies available as what we call seed files. So they help with the distribution. And if a file is popular, over time, many, many seed files are spread out all over the world. And when you download a BitTorrent, you're getting bits and pieces of the file from all of those sites. It makes it faster, more reliable. It's a really clever system. Instead of, traditionally when you download a file, you're getting it from one place, the source of the file. You're the source of these files, but you're also, in effect, a seed. When you're using a BitTorrent client, it's not unusual. If you're torrenting some files, there's a setting that says, do you want to operate as a seed so that you can help others in the network? And if you say yes, they then let people download from you. But it wouldn't be unusual, I think, for a client, and I haven't used this RT Plus, but it wouldn't be unusual for a client to say, stop seeding and delete the seeds. Well, no, because that's the file you downloaded in the first place. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, let's skip over the fact of how the heck this happened. Say, how can I get them back? I have a lot of them backed up, so I don't need to do a full 100 gig backup. Probably just the last maybe week or so. I looked, Google.
So you've been backing up, but you've only been backing up weekly, so your backups are a little out of date.
Right. So it's not a lot of stuff.
Good. Well, that's really good news because, if I were a snarky kind of guy, I would have answered and said, well, all you have to do is restore from your backups. In fact, I think some snarky guy in the chat room said exactly that. But I figured,
would be right.
Yeah. But there's that gap because your backups aren't up to date.
Right, and it's just a few days.
So usually files, and I guess this is really the answer to your question. When you delete a file on a PC or any computer system, it doesn't actually take the time to overwrite the data of the file. It just marks that file, that the area the file is occupying, as available for reuse. And that way, if you need to save another file, you can save it on top of that. If you after you delete a file, if you act quickly before the operating system has reused those sectors, that data is all still there. And it's fairly easy to unerase it. And there are a wide variety of unerase utilities out there. The chance of being able to unerase a file, though, goes down over time because it becomes more and more likely that area will get reused.
Right.
These days with big hard drives.
We're 2 days out. It's the weekend, and I haven't spent a lot of time indoors.
Good. You're probably good.
Yeah. So I did Google, and I saw a couple of things, and I'll just share this with you. File history, the Windows 10, built-in app.
Yeah. Windows has its own ability to do that versioning, yeah.
Right. Well, it was not enabled, so that's not available to me.
Okay.
Another two was EaseUS Data Recovery Wizard.
Very good.
M3 Data Recovery.
I'll start with the EaseUS. That's one of the first ones I recommend. There's also one from CCleaner called Recover, which actually
like Swappa.
yeah, exactly. It always cracks me up. RECUVA. It allows you to recover your files. I think EaseUS is the best, and it's free. But they all do the same thing. This all started with Peter Norton back in the day. That was his first Norton utility. Was because the way Windows erases files, it replaces the first character of the file name in the catalog with what looks like an upside down E, and that's it. That's all it does to erase a file. So what Norton Utilities did is it went through the catalog of files and looked for all the ones with upside down E's and said, I can unerase all of these, but you have to provide the first letter because I don't know what it is. You'd provide the first letter and say, good, I got it. What else do you want? So that's the same thing as EaseUS and everything else. You did look in, I take it you looked in the recycle bin.
I did.
Yeah.
And I did a search for it. It's like, wait a minute. How can this be gone? It was here last night.
That's a little weird, and I would say that sounds like maybe it has to do with that button.
Yeah. No, I know enough to be dangerous.
Yeah. Well, then you know most of what I just told you. This This is common lore among PC users. Just, download the Ease USB. Ideally, you'd put it on a different computer and put it on a USB key, because anything you do to the computer now runs the risk of overwriting that data.
Right. Well, can you say hello, Seagate?
Hey, I really love hearing from you. Call anytime. How's the weather in Malibu?
It's cloudy and gray. It's like we're in Seattle.
Yeah, it's normal. That's called the marine layer. What kind of? So, are you a music producer? What's the deal there?
Marketing, promotion,
and the
services.
label you work for uses BitTorrent to distribute.
Correct.
That's really cool. When I first got into podcasting way back in the day, 2005, we didn't have a content distribution network, so I just used BitTorrent, and we'd ask our listeners, if you want to seed our files, please do. That'll help others. It worked out pretty well. BitTorrent.
Yeah, it's got it does have a bad name.
Yeah, it's used for piracy, but it's not all piracy. It's just a file distribution system. It's really, honestly, it doesn't care. It'll distribute any file, including pirated files. But what a clever way to distribute music files, because your costs are very low as a result. You don't have to pay for a CDN.
Speaking of clever, let me say, Pee-wee, right on, brother.
Isn't he good? You like his music selections?
Well, let me share that he played Jay Giles earlier, which you were dancing to, that free frame.
Love that.
Frame.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of this, and I'm sorry to share this, but Jay Giles just passed away recently.
Oh, I didn't know.
Who was the guitarist? Who was a fantastic.
Oh, I did know, actually. I remember reading that, and I was very sad. Yeah. Really great band.
Leo, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have a good day. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. The Tech Guy Show brought to you today, actually, the podcast by DigitalOcean. I'm just a drop, a bit in the DigitalOcean. I actually love DigitalOcean. It is, but I sometimes have trouble describing it. Let me tell you how DigitalOcean is changing the world. I remember when my friend Kevin Rose started Dig. And this was, 10, 15 years ago. And even as recently, as when we started Twit, or even 5 years ago, generally the way you would start a new web-based application or website, or even an app that just needed, internet access and downloads, you would go to a server company. I went to SoftLayer down in Texas. They're owned by IBM now. And you say, I need a server. And they go, okay, I'd like that server to be running CentOS. They said, okay, we'll provision that. We'll get back to you. 3-4 days go by. Okay, your server's ready. You go in, then you have to install everything. And eventually, a week or two later, you're up and running. I remember Kevin, when he wanted to start Dig, he did what we call a colo, which is you rent space in a server center, because you need the center, because you need the air cooling and you need reliable electricity. Mostly you need a lot of bandwidth. So he rented space. Then he went out and bought a server at great expense. He gets the colo. He buys a server, spends a day at the colo in the sweltering hot co-location server center. Well, it probably wasn't. It was probably cool. But anyway, he spends the day, configuring it, setting it up. And then, as he grows, he's got to go back and do it again and again and again. There's a more modern way. If you're setting up, if you want to, for instance, build your web app and get investors, build that minimum viable product, you do that on DigitalOcean. If you're learning technologies like Node or Docker, you do that on DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean is the easiest way to set up a server online. Now, I got a couple of servers going. I got a Mastodon server here, and I got a Node.js server here. By the way, note my usage this month is $6. It's very affordable. Let's make a new one, though. I want to show you how fast. Remember, it took a week to get that server up and running? Let's get a server up and running. We're going to create what we call a droplet. This is, it's a drop in the ocean, right? You could choose various distributions, Ubuntu, FreeBSD, and so forth. You could choose containers. Yes, it supports Docker. You can use Kubernetes for orchestration, but it also supports one-button install for a lot of the stuff people use all the time, Bitwarden or a LAMP stack, a Python, Ghost, GitLab. Let's say I need my own Git server. Let's set up GitLab. Now, I've done this before by hand. It is a pain in the butt, but let's see how fast we can do it on DigitalOcean. Let's do the standard starter plan. Of course, you could choose CPU-optimized servers. You can choose additional storage. They have all the features, you could possibly want. I'm going to go for the low-priced one, although you see, as you need more CPUs or more RAM or more bandwidth, it's easy to do. I'll select the $5 version. I'm going to get 8 gigabytes of RAM, 4 CPUs. That's pretty good. Wow. Is that the plan? Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. And then I'm going to add backups. That's 20% of the droplet price. I'm going to add block storage. I don't need it, but if you need it, easy to do. Choose your data center. By the way, New York, San Francisco, sure, but also Amsterdam, Singapore, London, Frankfurt, Toronto, and Bangalore, all over the world. I like to choose San Francisco because it's the closest. You want private networking? You want IPv6? You want monitoring? You could turn those on. I always use my SSH keys for login. How many droplets? Just one, but you could have more. I'm going to name that Leo's GitLab. Remember, this is all just me futzing around with the interface to figure out what I want. And anything else I wanted to know? Let's create. Now, how long you think? Remember, it took me a week to set up a server. Took, I'm sure, Kevin a lot longer to set up his colo. I'm going to have a GitLab server up and running with a public IP address, ready to use, expansible as I need it to be. 9999 uptime, and you get an SLA for that. Team accounts, cloud firewalls, full DNS management, 24/7, 365 days a year, world-class support at an amazing price. You could do WordPress. You can set up cPanel or Plesk. You can use Jenkins. You can use Docker, set up a LAMP stack. And you could do it, each server, in under a minute. Under a minute. So right now, on those enterprise-grade SSDs, this little setup script is running, and I'm going to have my server up and running with a public IP address in a second. It is just amazing. If you're a developer, if you're new at this and you want to learn skills and technologies at a very affordable cost, or even if you're a big shot with a brand new startup, DigitalOcean makes it easy to set up customized, standard, or CPUs-optimized droplets with SSD-based virtual machines in 55 seconds or less. And automatic backup, too, if you want it, which I think is great. This is actually, you know what? This is one I'm going to keep. It's very easy to destroy old ones. Let's just show you. I could quickly destroy that old Node server. I was using that to play around with Node.js. Destroy my droplet, confirm it, and it's gone very quick. Saves me money, saves me time. And oh, by the way, my GitLab server, while I was doing that, is now up and running at 149.93.25.17. Should we log in? Just to prove that it's actually up and running, I'm going to log into the console. You get root access, of course. Well, it's it. It's already ready. Ready to log into my GitLab. DigitalOcean. This is the kind of technology that just means anybody can get into this business, set up a minimum viable product, raise money, go out and do the kinds of things that you had to be an expert to do, like Kevin Rose years ago. All you got to do is get DigitalOcean. do.co/twit. Trusted by over 1 million developers. do.co/twit. You sign up today, you'll receive a free $100 credit. Use that special URL, do.co/twit, to show them you heard it here. And get a free $100 credit. DigitalOcean. Designed for developers, built for businesses. Love you, Dio. And thank you for your support of the Tech Guy podcast. And now, on with the show. Big Payway, musical director, we love you. We love you too. Kim Schaffer, our phone angel. Couldn't do the show without him. Couldn't do the show without you too. Thank you so much for listening. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Let's get a few more calls in here before I go home. Tom, our friend from Warren, Ohio. Hi, Tom.
Yes, Leo. Nice day today over here. Sunny and 55.
Now, wasn't there a late Midwest snowstorm? You avoided that, I guess.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that. We just got a bunch of rain. We've been getting a lot of rain. We've probably had maybe 2 inches of rain in the last week.
Well, you know what they say about April showers and May flowers.
Bring May flowers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was just watching some old antenna TV watching the NBA playoffs while I was waiting to talk to you.
Oh, how fun!
Time, so
yeah.
Your team is winning, but my team, the old Cleveland Cavaliers, they're not doing so well this year, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So it won't be a rematch like we had the last 4 years.
I've really enjoyed that, though. What a great rivalry that's been, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was, unfortunately, the Cavs just dropped off the face of the earth.
Without LeBron, it isn't quite the same.
Right. Hey, anyway, I was going to ask you, my son is building a gaming PC.
Nice.
And do you need, he's following in the line of technology
I
blood.
think that's
between
great.
My grandfather and my father.
How old is he?
He's a college senior.
Perfect. Okay.
And he's into gaming. And
nice.
He said he was going to get a Ryzen processor. Do those need any type of cooling system that would be liquid or Freon or something?
Well, just like the comparable Intel chips, I really like these AMD chips. They're lower cost, and they, I think Intel's still probably the king of the hill. The Ryzens are pretty darn good. Just like Intel processors, you get one of these high-end many watt thread rippers. They get pretty hot, and you can use air cooling. But
it's a Wi-Fi card for a gaming PC. Do you need a Wi-Fi card to plug in your motherboard, or how does that work?
There's a number of ways to do that. I wouldn't worry so much about the Wi-Fi yet. I do like the idea of getting a liquid-cooled case. They're not expensive. You can get them sealed, so it's not a mess. It's not, you don't have to replenish the liquid or anything like that. And they have a little cooler unit that goes on the processor, the little cooler unit that might go on the GPU as well. It definitely, I think it helps. And they're not expensive. Just look at the case. As for Wi-Fi, most motherboards have built-in Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
If yours does not, yes, you can get a daughter board, little small card. Or, honestly, these are fine. Get a USB thumb drive, Wi-Fi thumb drive. There are a lot of them.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's something you can add after the fact. It's not a big deal. Generally, for gaming, people want to be wired, not wireless.
Yeah, I'll have to tell him. See if best to hook up. What is it? Cat 5e? Is that good?
If you have it, use it. Your latency will be lower. You'll be faster. But sometimes it's just not convenient. You don't have a place to plug in anywhere near your computer. So
we'll have to just get a long cord. We used to do that with the old PlayStation. I ran one off of the modem, a 25-foot cord over to the PlayStation.
Oh, Mom loves that. Mom loves that blue cord going across the living room. Nothing like it.
Yeah, well, lucky enough, we didn't have to do it in the living room. We built a side room like an office, and then one at the end of the room down there, I put a TV in that, and so he had a place to game, and that was out of the way.
These days, you got to be practical. I mean, ideally, my home theater is wired in one room, but that's where the modem is. In the living room, there's no modem outlet there, so I have to do it by Wi-Fi. These days, Wi-Fi is pretty good. Gaming, though, it's always better to go wired if you can.
I ran the same Ethernet cable that I used to use for the PlayStation. I ran it through the basement and up into the living room, and then I hooked the Roku directly up to the Ethernet. So
gaming's a little more demanding than streaming internet, obviously, because
I have to tell them, try to get the wired hookup, and then that, like you said, no latency and all that good stuff. Just get a direct line in. All right, Leo.
How fun. He's having a great time. That sounds great.
Yeah.
He's a geek running
just like everybody.
Now, you said your granddad and your dad. Are you a geek too?
Yeah, I've been that way for a long time. My grandfather was hooking up radios in the 1930s to listen to the boxing matches, because back then there was no TV.
Isn't that great?
And my dad always had a camera strapped on his hip or in his hand and taking old Kodak movies or Bell and Howell. We had projectors.
It's nice if you can pass that love down. I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it's just in my blood. I said, no wonder I'm always calling you up. I'm always on something else new than listening to your shows.
That's why I do it. For me, it's the best beat ever because it never gets tired. It's always something new, something interesting. Tom, have a great day, and good luck for your Cavs next year. Maybe next year.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, take care. Mark, Los Angeles. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
Okay, you're supporting the Moto. I have a Moto E5 Plus.
Yes.
Okay. And I've been trying to download the internal to the SD card, but I haven't found the place to do it. You have any idea how to do that?
It cut off a little bit there. You're downloading what for the SD card?
I'm trying to go from the internal memory to the SD.
So you want to put an SD card in your E5, and you want to put what? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's already in there, but I'm trying to go from the internal download to.
You're trying to move your download folder to the SD card. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. So with phones, and it's really with Android phones. Since there are no SD cards on iPhones, but with Android phones.
Yes, Android. Yeah.
SD cards are kind of a second-class citizen. Generally, the way you use them is if an application supports it, it will offer in the settings the opportunity to store its data there. So your camera app, for instance, when it sees an SD card, says, "Oh, I see an SD card. You want to put pictures there? Yes, please." Your music app might say, "Oh, you want me to put music there? Yes, please." Some apps are smart enough to check the SD card. But downloads, it really depends on what you're downloading with. If that app doesn't know about SD cards or doesn't have a switch to say, store it here, you're stuck with wherever it puts it.
Okay.
I understand on less expensive phones, you don't have as much storage. That E5 is a nice phone, but what is it, 16 gigs?
Actually, 32.
32. But it's easy to run out, even with 32. That's a good size. So that could be an issue. So you want to, ideally, you'd like to download large files to your SD card. If the only issue is I want to store this on an SD card, you can always pop the SD card, copy it on your PC, and then put it back in.
Correct.
You can move media in storage settings. You can. There is a switch to move your storage, your media to that storage. So that's another way to do it. But downloads will depend on what app you're using to download and how you tell, and whether that app lets you tell it. I don't know if you can.
I don't think I can because I know what you're saying. You can see when you want to put it on the SD, it'll tell you that. But
that's right.
This phone, I see what you're saying.
If it doesn't offer that, go into your settings and storage and look for that switch that says move media to SD card. Maybe that'll be enough to convince the downloads. Oh, you should be going here too. Hey, that's about it for me. Is that right? Can it be? Time has expired. The clock is ticking. The shot clock's down to 0. I'm going to say thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great Geek Week, and I'll be back next time. I hope you will, too. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.